Now, Sleep, you started to say why you might be leaving?
Oh, I might be leaving.
Oh, wait, let's wait for that. You hear that shit? Let's start with that as soon as it's caught.
That's a bad spot because there's a lot of traffic when I was down here at Low Road.
So you might be taking off?
I might. Very shortly.
Why would that be?
Well, slabs are just not what they used to be. It seems like every year things get worse and worse and worse, and people are threatening with each other. There's not as much peace and harmony as what there used to be 2-3 years ago.
Let's do a law on this.
Okay, so I think slabs aren't what they used to be?
No, slabs are not what they used to be 2 years ago, 3 years ago. When I was here 2-3 years ago, it was a lot different than what it is right now.
How's it changed?
Well, a lot of people talk on the CB radio. Even early in the morning, people are getting into arguments, 6:30, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. Quite a few people are already mad at each other and everything.
What do they get upset by? What's an example?
To be honest with you, it's person wakes up, he's got a bone to pick with somebody, he'll just take it out on somebody else and accuse somebody of throwing a carrier on him or something of that nature, and next thing you know, here comes a great big argument, and people are, threatening to go on out and clean somebody's clock and come down and knock on their door and get into a good fisticuffs, and it's got me to the point I don't even turn my radio on anymore.
Has it actually happened? Has there been...
It hasn't happened. Fortunately, the CB radio is used out here quite a bit as an instrument where people can blow their tensions and their steam off verbally on a radio, and shall we say they're hiding behind a microphone, they're venting all their anger and frustration rather than meeting a person face to face. I don't think these people would say half of what they say face to face is what they're saying on a radio. But the fact of the matter is, it still boils down to the fact that it's not what it used to be. I know plenty of people they're just not going to be coming back. I leave here, I will not be coming back.
Really?
I will not come back to Slab City again. I will not.
You're pretty fed up with it, lately.
I am totally fed up with it. Yeah. I've done a lot of searching in the past couple of weeks about what really is Slab City about. And it seems to be those that have and those that do not have. And those that do have frown deeply upon those that don't have. You have no freedom of speech. You cannot say what is in your heart. You cannot be honest with these people because for the most part they cannot accept honesty.
So you don't subscribe to the idea that everybody here, the haves and the have-nots, live together in harmony?
They live together. Percentage-wise, I would have to say approximately 80, 85, maybe 90% of them do. But on both sides of it, you have the riffraff side and you have the financially well-off and the well-to-do people. There's always 5 or 10% that make it difficult for everybody. I'm surrounded right now with people that are very affluent, and there's a nice Sunset motorhome from Washington. There's another one from Washington. Here's one that came down from the Yukon. Very friendly people. They're very nice and friendly to talk with. They come on over and bake a pie and give me a pie, a loaf of homemade bread, nice conversation, a cup of coffee, and we just sit there and, have fine times with each other. But these are a typical example of the rich from the affluent, but then you can always run into the 5 or 10% that are filthy rich and they have nothing to do than cut down those that have nothing.
Let's talk a little bit about those that have nothing. How big a haven place is this for the people that don't have anything?
640 to 1,000 acres. It would depend upon how much a person wants to put up with and how long they're willing to tolerate it.
Okay. So, other people have told us that this is heaven for somebody that's broke.
Heaven for somebody that's broke, yeah, To a certain extent, I'd say yes. To a certain extent, no. You have to have something to work with. Propane, gasoline in your car, cigarettes. You have to have it, and if you don't get any money to go on out and provide that which you have need of, you're going to be in a big world of hurt. The current time being right now, last week I didn't even make $25. I can't keep on going like that. At $25 a week, my propane runs me approximately $6-7 a week. And gas in my car and everything runs another good $10 a week.
And we're not even talking about food.
No. Food, I have been getting food stamps, and as of to date, January 19th, I have not received any food stamps for the month of January yet.
Do you know why?
Do I know why? No, I do not. I've written letter after letter after letter to the welfare department. I have no income coming in. The only thing I'm getting on welfare is strictly food stamps. Food stamps, put food on my table as far as my propane, gas in my car, cigarettes, beer, whatever it might be. That is something I'm able to provide for by hauling water, doing odd jobs, mechanical work, RV repair, whatever might happen to develop where somebody has need of the services that I might be able to offer for them.
And in the past, you've always been able to be comfortable that way?
Well, in the past, the work has been there, and the money has been more readily available. The more work you do, the more money you can have in your pocket. But this year, the money has just dropped. When I was here 3 years ago, I'd make anywhere from $75 to $100 a week, and I could live comfortably. This year now, if I'm making $25, $30 a week, I'm doing good. Some weeks I'll make $50 to $100. Some weeks I'll make $25 and $30.
Is this fairly typical of other people you know here?
For some people, yes. Now, for other people, the newcomers that have come in that haven't been here but their first time, a gentleman that I know right now, I know two of them. One's doing quite affluently well, has a nice bus and everything, and him and his wife, and he has more work than he could shake a stick at. I know of another gentleman that came in with very little, and he's out there on Sellers Row, and he is also doing quite affluent. And I can't understand why, because the one that's doing quite affluent that came in with literally nothing was a gentleman who was extremely radical on a CB radio.
Radical. What did he do?
Oh, well, he got on a radio, and he went out and started threatening two people. One was Frank the welder, and he's still got a grudge against Frank, and one of these days maybe Frank and this other person will get it on. I don't know. It's not my business. It's not for me to say. Recently he's got into it with the outlaw.
See, you just on the radio, you mean?
Oh yeah, on the radio. Now what they actually do in person, I don't know. I've seen all three people, Frank the welder, this other person in particular, and outlaw, and they have not, either one of the three in any way, shape, or form confronted each other, but it's to the point that there's a lot better things to do with 24 hours in a day than have to listen to all this bickering and everything going on the radio. It will reflect in your lifestyle, walking around the slabs, the people you meet, and the work you do.
What do they actually fight about? Is there any particular fight that you say they're petty fights. What kinds of things?
It's just petty. I think that even though we're out here in the Sun Belt and everything, a lot of people are getting cabin fever. It's not quite as warm as it used to be 3-4 years ago, and too many people are just cooped up in their house. I think also the financial situation right now in this country, not just here in the slabs, but in the country, money is tight. That has quite a bit to play with it. And a lot of people are also concerned with what is going to happen to Slab City, USA, as we know it, the slabs. What's going to happen to it, I really have no idea.
Right, same damn thing.
Yeah. So, would you say this is one of the hardest, hard times for you?
Hard time for me, very hard time.
Well, I mean, I was saying things financially are going south all around, but can you remember other times that were as bad or worse, or is this one of the worst?
I can remember times that were hard, probably harder than they are right now. But one advantage right now for me is the fact that I do have this trailer to live in, and I have a car. And I've seen times go by when I didn't even have a car. I was just living in a small. The hardest time I ever seen was back in. Oh God, I'd say it would probably be about 1960. About 66. Down around Richmond, Virginia, living in a room that was about a 9 by 12, and that's all that I had. But it was a roof over my head. Times are hard. I worry day to day about putting propane in my trailer. I worry day to day about getting gas in the car to keep on running back and forth to town and hauling the water when I have need of it. But as far as the long run, I do not see any improvement at the end of the line. There's no ray of hope at the end of the tunnel.
How does that make you feel? What do you think about? What do you want to do?
Well, what do I want to do? I want to get myself out of here where I can spread my wings a little bit and get on financial ground, get myself a 40-hour-a-week job or even a permanent full-time job, part-time job, where I can go on out and provide for myself rather than living the way that I am.
How do you think you might do that, go about doing that?
Well, I'm still waiting on a letter from a friend of mine up in Northern California about an employment opportunity that would start about middle to the end of April, early part of May. It'd be a seasonal job and pays quite well, $7.65 an hour.
What would you be doing?
I'd be working in a fire watch tower up in Modoc County, the Warner Mountains.
Sounds good. So you're depending on a letter from a friend?
Well, I'm depending on that. I'm also depending on, at the latest, I'll be here about the 1st of April, and I'll be gone. At the very latest, I will not stay this summer. I do leave Slab City. I will not return. There's nothing to come back to. I was here 2-3 years ago. I've been here since September the 8th of this year. I've seen what's going on. I can read the handwriting on a wall, and a lot of it stems out of a person's personality on a CB radio. The CB radio, as I had said when you guys were down here last time, is pretty much the mainstay on the slabs. But I've been listening to the radio without getting on it and talking and finding out there's a lot of people that just listen and don't talk. And they can also put the crimp in a person's lifestyle. If they don't like what the person says, they just flat do not patronize. If they don't patronize a person for what they have freedom in believing in their freedom of speech, it hurts the person doing the speaking.
And then I guess on the other hand, there are people who are, what would you say, snobbish, some of the...
There are some. Those are, 3 to 5% of the affluent. The majority of the people that are affluent are 95% are real nice people, but you always run into 3 to 5, maybe 8 or 10% that are snobbish or any way you care to categorize them. The same thing with the people that are in my situation. A lot of people might think Old Sleepy's not the world's best person because some things that I say on the radio.
What would make them think that? What are things that you think they object to that you do? You don't seem very objectionable to me.
Well, if you express your own opinion, somebody wants to know how a radio sounds. If it sounds all garbled up and messy, I tell them straightforward. I don't tell them it sounds good. That's not what people want to hear.
So it really is petty stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely petty stuff. It's not like somebody getting in an argument because somebody went out and allegedly stole somebody's generator or in actuality did steal a generator. It's just petty stuff that people want to have something to talk about. They want to. A lot of people that I've spoken with in the past couple of weeks really want to do nothing more than have a good time on the radio, but the way that they conduct themselves on the radio and what they call having a good time is seeing how riled a person can get and how riled they can get that person to be, how much of a ruckus they can raise on the radio.
To get back to this, if you don't have any luck with this food stamp, campaign to get your food stamps back, what would you do here before spring, before April? What would your options be?
What would my options be? The same thing as if I had the food stamps. Just stay here and wait till the 1st of April or thereabouts and make it the best I can come April.
So you think you could get by? Your survival isn't threatened. It's just not comfortable. Is that it?
It's not comfortable. Could I make it without my food stamps between now and April? Doubtful. Very doubtful.
Yep.
I couldn't make it. No way at all.
So what would you do?
Gracious neighbors and hey, I'm 135, 140 pounds soaking wet. I'll probably lose a couple more pounds, but I got a pretty good supply of rice and beans, and there's a lot of protein in that. Might not be steak, it might not be macaroni and cheese, it might not be meatloaf, but I can make it one way or another. I have plenty of soup, and when I was getting my food stamps, I always buy my groceries on what's on sale. And if you could buy 8 of those packages of Raymond soup for $1, I went out and bought 32 of them. And I have quite a few of them left right now. I have macaroni and cheese. I picked up 5 for $1. You leave the milk out, and you can use some margarine. It's not going to hurt you there. Instead of eating 3 meals a day, it just might be down to 2 meals a day. But God always provides some way, shape, form, or another. I have some neighbors right here on this slab that have gone out and been very gracious, and a loaf of homemade bread one day, a lemon meringue pie the next day, homemade cookies the next day, and gentleman over here, very kind enough that he's let me plug into his motorhome, and he runs a generator. I get to charge my batteries. And that means a lot to me because it's saving me the wear and tear and the gas and the operating expense on my car for a generator. A gallon of gas for about 20 or 30 minutes on the car for charging the battery is not a very reasonable way of going.
So, I mean, the friendliness of Slab City has not completely gone away. What you're saying is it's shifted to less and less. I mean, there's fewer opportunity, fewer people like that?
The opportunities, some have diminished. Some people are doing the work by themselves. Instead of people going out and hiring somebody to haul the water, they're hauling the water themselves. They might have a friend of theirs and might happen to have a small trailer or a barrel or a drum or something like that, and they'll go ahead and have them go ahead and haul the water in for them, and they'll make their own arrangement between each other, and therefore it cuts me out of my work and cuts me out of my finances. It would allow me to survive in a lifestyle that I can tolerate and live with.
What do you get for hauling one drum?
Well, it's 10 cents a gallon. I have 5 15-gallon barrels in my car. That's 75 gallon. If I just kind of eyeball it, they took 2 barrels, that's $3. If it's 2.5 barrels, that's about $4.10, $4.20.
That's your job right now, basically.
Right. Aside from doing light mechanical work and RV repair work, or whatever odd job might become available, somebody asks me to do, yeah, that's basically what I do, is just haul the water.